Let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, my guest, very funny comedian, Justin Foster.
Hey.
What's up, Justin?
What's up, man?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Last time I did your podcast, it was a hometown podcast about where you were from and the news.
Yeah.
Remember that?
It was Parker and Tyler.
Yes,
and then
that's
I
right.
was,
That's
I was
right.
subbing in for one of them, I think.
That's right.
Something like that.
Dude.
I was actually back. I just saw Parker this weekend.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing?
He's good.
Good.
He's doing well. I was back in Austin for a bachelor party. I'm running on about from Thursday to now. I think I'm running on about maybe 6 or 7 hours of sleep total.
You went to Austin for a bachelor party.
Yes.
And you don't party anymore.
No, I don't.
Isn't that terrible?
It's, you know what it is. It was fun, but man,
Yeah.
some of it like oh, I wish I could roll with these guys and like drink with them still. And then some of it was like, oh man, I'm so glad that I'm not
Right.
drunk or fucked up for any of this right now.
To me, it's not terrible in the sense of like, God, I wish I was like throwing up like they are and like making terrible decisions. It's like, I just want to go home. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking at my clock. I'm like, okay, it's all right. I'll stay till like midnight and then I got to bounce.
Yeah, we went out. The second night was the only night we actually like went out to a bar, and because the first night somebody got sick at the restaurant we were eating at, so we were like, well, we should probably pack it in. And I was like, sweet.
You're just poisoning him.
That's a good look. Don't sell me up the river, man.
Here, try this uncooked chicken. We could be in bed by 9:30.
We went out to a bar in Austin called the White Horse.
Yeah.
You familiar with it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
am.
honky tonk bar.
I am.
And we got there at like midnight.
Mhm.
Like we didn't eat dinner until about 11 o'clock, and we had this this huge, gigantic ribeyes and mashed potatoes and salad, the whole fucking deal.
Right.
And so we get there, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'm going to have to drink a Red Bull or something now,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to be awake until like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then I was awake until like 4 or 5 o'clock. So it's just like, all right, I'm going to get plain sleep. That's awful.
Yeah.
That's nobody wants to do that.
Right. It's the worst. It's so funny to me because like I was thinking about this the other day, like to say like, if I drink a Red Bull now, then I'm going to be up till 3 a.m. Like I used to drink everything. Like anything you would put in front of me, I would drink. Like I once did a bar mat shot, where like the
Yeah,
rum-
yeah,
right.
yeah.
But the other day I was like, I don't know if I should have a second cup of coffee. It's already 7:30. I'm like, who the fuck am I?
Hey, man, that's what we do.
Dude, it's great.
We come up with reasons.
Good for you, man.
One of the activities that was suggested this weekend, because there's an email thread about like, all right, we're gonna figure out what to do this
Right.
bachelor party, and one of the things that was suggested was, well, the Super Troopers 2 is coming out this weekend, so we should all go see that on
Of course.
420, bruh.
Right.
And we didn't go do that.
No,
thank
there's
God.
always one guy planning the bachelor party with an itinerary, right? Well, we got to do this, and then it's like we're just gonna get fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
There doesn't need to be a schedule or a plan.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of dudes catching up and drinking.
We adapted. We figured it out.
Yeah.
Super Troopers 2 did not need us to go see it to do well, though. Surprise, surprise. It did pretty fucking good on its own. It was number 4 at the box office this weekend.
Which was, did you saw it was Indiegogo funded? It
Yeah.
was crowdfunded for like $4
$4
million.
Yeah, I think it was a little because the total production budget was 5, and so most of their budget was coming from Indiegogo.
Right.
But here's the crazy thing: so it made $14.7 million.
Right. Which is way more than anybody expected to.
It's way more than anybody expected. Not just that, it also. The original Super Troopers only made $18 million in theaters at all.
Right, total.
In its entire run.
Right.
So this movie already, they're probably fucking elated.
Oh, I'm sure. And it's so weird that they went that route because, like, that movie nowadays should have gone straight to Netflix.
Yeah.
That should have gone straight to Redbox, straight to Netflix. It had no business being in the theater, but I just like that they were like, no. We're going to put Super Troopers in the theater, and you guys are going to help us pay for it. And then everyone was like, dude, they threw that up there and saw the number. Like, there's no way we're going to hit $4 million on this thing.
Yeah.
There's no way they expected that.
Well, they probably looked at, you remember when Zach Braff did that for his movie?
No. What movie was that?
Wish I Was Here, I think it was called, or Wish You Were Here. It's some fucking dumb indie pretentious title name. But he crowdfunded that on Kickstarter, and this was like, before Kickstarter was blowing up. This is one of the big major platform shifts on Kickstarter, was crowdfunding this movie, and we're like, and everybody hit him with so much backlash, and this movie got funded. It still got, he was only asking for, I think, $1 million, maybe $2 million, but he got all the money he needed in the first day, and then all of a sudden the movie gets made and it's god awful.
Right.
But this is one of those movies that, like, you're going into it not expecting it to be great.
Right. Yeah.
You just want it to be funny.
And Super Troopers seems like the type of dudes you want to give money to.
Yeah.
Right? Zach Braff, you're like, you got somebody you can call, man. There's somebody that'll fund this movie for you. The Super Trooper guys, they had, like, aside from, like, the Dukes of Hazzard movie that he did, which I'm sure made money in a Hollywood sense, like, a lot of those movies didn't do great. Like, he didn't have a great directing career after that. So those seems like the types of guys, like, you want to, like, I'll throw some money towards that. Like, I want, and I want to help you guys out.
The residual checks you're getting from showing your edited versions of your movies on Comedy Central probably aren't helping do a whole lot to fund your fucking bank account.
Did you follow the other projects?
No.
Did you? So you didn't watch, like, the resort movie?
No, the only other one I've seen Super Troopers, and I've seen Beer Fest, and that's it.
Yeah, there was Beer Fest. There was there was one on a resort.
Club Dread.
I
remember that came out.
Yeah, and I think there was a third maybe that was real. They were all, like, not great.
I don't know.
Yeah. This one didn't do great review-wise.
Oh, no, but I didn't expect it to.
Right.
It's one of those, you don't think that Super Troopers 2, which probably already didn't get a great critical reaction the first go-around.
Right. 18 years later, what? How long has it been? It's been a long time.
I think it's been something close to 15.
Yes.
I think it was 2003 or 04 when it came out.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It was when I was in high school.
So you knew that wasn't going to, like, be critically acclaimed right out of the get-go. For some reason, I wanted it. I wanted, like, a C-. I wanted, like, a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. I wanted, but it didn't happen.
Nah, I think they're somewhere flirting with the 30s right now.
Yeah, they're still in the 30s.
Which is about what I expected.
But good for them, man. They wanted to do it. The people wanted to do it. And like, those types of movies, like, if you give money to it, like, you don't feel like, I don't know, I don't feel bad about it. Like, the Zach Braff thing, I don't want to give money to that guy.
Right.
These guys, like, yeah.
Zach Braff used to have a sitcom that ran for, 6 or 7 seasons?
Right.
That he was actively on. He should be good.
He's fine.
He doesn't need to crowdfund anything.
Right, exactly.
These guys, it's 6 dudes. They probably all have kids.
Oh, I'm sure.
And and 2 of them are, like, touring to try and make money right now.
Dude, have you seen that?
I remember at Flappers, they had one when I was working there still.
And everyone thinks it's like stand-up, like Broken Lizard, the Super Trooper guys.
Right.
And it's like kind of storytelling, kind of like 2 guys on stage, and
it's not as advertised.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and it's probably like they want to probably impress their kids and do this one too.
But hey, I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
Congrats to the Broken Lizard comedy troupe.
That's awesome.
Top 5, way better than I thought they were going to do.
Yeah. Good for them.
We have number 1 at the box office, taking back its spot from last week, A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
$22 million.
I didn't see that going number 1. I for sure thought Rampage was a surefire.
Well, I figured Rampage would get it again too, given that it's much more of a big,
it's The Rock,
giant scale. The Rock. You got monsters, you got explosions. Quiet Place. It's a. Have you seen A Quiet Place yet?
I have not seen it yet.
I have not either.
I heard it's fantastic.
Same here.
Yeah.
But it's a weird. It's horror movies. This is not the time of year when you'd think a horror movie like that would do well.
It's almost like Get Out, right? Where it's like no one like the budget was kind of low and no one expected it, and it's just killing it right now.
Coming from somebody who's known as in the world of comedy, same deal. Jordan Peele from Key and Peele, and then John Krasinski from The Office. And it's such a strange concept for a movie.
Yeah.
A movie where everybody's trying to be silent the whole time, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And you don't know. And it seems like the kind of movie that wouldn't be making. I mean, it's currently sitting at $132 million. What
do you think the budget was?
The budget, according to Box Office Mojo, where I'm getting all my info, it is $17 million.
So they paid 17 and now they're at 100.
Yeah.
God, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love when that shit happens.
I think this is probably going to be top 5 box office for a long time.
You think? You think the buzz will carry it on? Because I want to see it now just because of people that have been talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I think that I mean, the next big tentpole obviously is next weekend when Avengers comes out.
Thursday night.
And that's going to be huge. That's
Yeah.
going to be probably number one at the box office for at least 2 or 3 weeks.
It's going to go 2 weeks until Deadpool.
And Deadpool's what, mid-May?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have heard that Deadpool is not getting good audience reaction so far.
Interesting.
I saw some test screenings. They say that Deadpool has not been doing so hot.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But everybody wants to go see Avengers so they can see who dies.
Yeah. Well, I'm super excited.
Who do you have in the Avengers death pool?
Dude, honestly, I've got Stark.
That's what I think him and Thor are the most likely
I
to
do
go.
too. I think everyone thinks Captain. I think Captain's the obvious choice, and I know that Marvel likes because the death of Captain was like a storyline that a lot of people want to see. But if you flip that and watch, this is going to come out on Friday. I'm probably going to look super stupid. But my thing was Stark as almost like his full. You keep up with those movies? Because
Not really,
okay.
but I've read enough.
His full arc would make sense if he were to
Friends of mine theories.
If he were to sacrifice himself for, say, like Peter Parker or something like that. Now Peter's got his Uncle Ben story, which they don't do in the Homecoming reboots. There's no Uncle Ben, so now you got that. It kind of makes sense.
I'm cool that as long as they don't have him saying "with great power comes great responsibility."
Yeah, they won't say that. Yeah.
Please, for the love of God, do not say that.
Thor would make sense too because he's like their to take out one of like their gods would make sense. But also like Ragnarok did so good that I could see them trying to do a Thor 4.
I could, and they would probably bring Taika Waititi back for that too.
Oh, of course, he would love to.
He would be fantastic for it.
So Thor would make sense if Ragnarok hadn't just crushed it.
Yeah.
If they hadn't changed it and made it a comedy, I think Thor would be an obvious bet as well.
But they already got him injured. They already took his eye out.
And his hammer.
And his hammer.
And his hair.
Yep. It's a very different Thor we're working with here.
Right.
Now.
They broke him down.
Who knows? See, I think that Captain America is probably going to stick around just because they're giving him new weapons. Very big deal in the trailer, giving him new shields.
Which can a lot of people think that the new shield can actually hold the Infinity Stones, so he can also have a gauntlet of his own. Well, I don't know. I've been waiting for this movie for like a really, really long time.
A big superhero movie guy?
I did Marvel.
Just Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
The most fun that I've had in the last couple of movies I've seen have all been Marvel movies.
See, I really am not much of as far as Marvel superhero movies go, I'm not really a big Marvel guy. I still think the peak of superhero movies for me is Dark Knight.
Batman.
And I have watched a fair amount of DC Universe movies for this podcast in particular, and I have hated all of them.
Sorry.
It's okay. It is what it is. And Marvel movies, like, I get it. They're not bad movies by any means. I never walk out of a movie feeling disappointed that I saw one of those movies. But it's just like it doesn't go beyond like it doesn't get to that next level for me.
There's a formula that they all follow.
Yeah.
For sure. And Dark Knight was the first super movie to break that formula. And I'll be honest with you, and this will probably lose all credibility that I have for the rest of the show to starring movie-wise. I liked the third one maybe almost as much, maybe just a little bit more.
You know what? The third movie is underrated and people give it shit.
I love it.
And it doesn't deserve the shit that it gets.
It doesn't. Dude, yes, it's got plot holes, sure. But what movie in the what was it, the first act or the second act do they break the hero's back? Like, I remember watching that scene being like, oh my God. Like this, you know what I mean? Like that like totally breaks the mold of anything they've ever done in a superhero movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you know what else? If there's a movie that is ever allowed to have plot holes, it's a goddamn comic book movie.
Right.
Because it takes place in a fantasy world and you don't have to explain everything.
Right. This shit drives me insane. But yeah, but also what about all the other things too that you're able to ignore? Right. But dude, there's some scenes in that in The Dark Knight Rises. Like The Dark Knight's just a great movie. It's like Heat. Yeah, like you could take Batman out of the equation and it's a great crime movie.
Yeah, and that's why I think it has stood the test of time because it elevates it to a different genre entirely.
Right. There's a grossness to Dark Knight Rises. Where there's a grittiness to and The Dark Knight had a lot of those scenes too, but like that scene where he's fighting Bane in the sewer and he hits him with everything he's got and nothing, and you're like, oh my God. Like, to me, like I can watch that scene over and over. And there's some like when he like puts his knee on the dude's neck and then hangs the bodies from the bridge for everyone to see. There's some gnarly stuff going on in that movie.
The sequences, stuff like that is there's so much grand stuff going on. Because in Marvel movies in particular, there's a lot of big action set pieces, right? But they're all pretty fantastical. You know, you've got people, you know, cities being destroyed and stuff happening in big, you know, in Thor Ragnarok, you got a big gladiatorial stadium going on, and there's big fights But in Dark Knight Rises, in Dark Knight too, but certainly Dark Knight Rises, I think a little bit more than Dark Knight, it takes all of that and keeps it in a way that feels grounded.
It does.
The least grounded thing in that movie, as far as any of the big set pieces, I think the opening sequence with the planes.
Oh my God,
but even that still makes sense.
So great. Dude, so great.
And it's just like...
The plane scene, dude. The football scene,
for the football, the whole stadium explodes,
and then he comes out and snaps the dude's neck in front of everyone. You're like, wow. The movie was so good to me because I wasn't thinking about the Joker the entire time.
Right,
like, you know what I mean? Had he not been such a great villain, I would have been like, yeah, this would have been great. But where's the Joker at? Like, I was totally invested into like Bane and all of that. I was all in.
Yeah.
It was really good.
That was one of the things, and one of the things that got me so mad about people's criticism of that movie is they're like, "Well, how come Bane dies when he gets hit by a car?"
Yeah,
just let that happen.
I know.
If a person can't beat him, you got to hit him with the fucking car.
Right, hit him with a car. I know, but like the whole like literary thing, like going to the belly of the beast to find out your enemy's weakness, and like, dude, and then the scene, I cried at the end, dude. When Alfred's talking to the grave, bro, I lost it. And then you find out he's like okay, and he's like escaped. Like I've paralleled that to comedy so many times of just leaving it all, like disappear. Like, you know, he's run off to Italy with his girl, and like everything's cool. Like he just left that behind. I loved it,
and he gets to have the little nod to Alfred. It was really nice,
right? But there would be that like Alfred would be like, yo. Like there would be that scene where Alfred probably walks up to the table and be like, dude, you could have just told me you were leaving.
Right, but we don't need that.
But we don't need that.
Because they just nod at each other.
Right, they get him a statue. He left all his money to the orphanage. Like, come on. They tied everything up. It's amazing.
Oh, my God. I loved it, too. So Rampage, number 2 at the box office. Did you see Rampage?
No.
It's one of those, if it's on HBO Go and I'm bored, I'll probably go watch it there. Number 3 at the box office, I Feel Pretty. Amy Schumer rom-com, $16 million. Doing about the business that they expected it to do, but it's probably going to. I think it's going to fall out of the box office top 10 very quickly, given the next couple of months of releases.
People aren't in love with her anymore, are they?
No, I think that she hit her peak of stardom in Trainwreck, which was 2014 or 15 when that came out.
Sure.
So it's been a few years. She had that movie with Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, which did not do well.
Daughters
or Mothers or something?
It did. I think it was called Snatched.
Snatch, you're right, it was.
Because it was about,
they were kidnapped.
2 broads getting kidnapped.
Right, with the vagina.
Yeah, you got to throw in a vagina allegory if you're going to have whatever, Amy Schumer in a movie.
Yes.
But they, and that's the thing, it did poorly critically, it did great box office-wise.
Oh, it did make money.
It made a lot more money than I think that they thought they were going to, given the reviews.
And that was Goldie Hawn's first movie in a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think that had a lot to do with it as well.
Coming back. But this is not getting good reviews. And it's also doing less business than they expected it to.
Right, yeah.
For some reason, you got movies like Super Troopers 2 that are coming and pulling away business.
So funny.
I Feel Pretty.
And then the wild card there being A Quiet Place. I mean, you would think that The Rock would be just a surefire, you know.
I mean, The Rock is the prime movie star of our time. That's something
Isn't that funny?
say all the time.
Say that sentence again.
The Rock is the prime movie star of our time. No one can top The Rock.
No one can top. He's the reboot king. He's a surefire. He's just money in the bank every time.
If The Rock is in your movie, then you're pretty much guaranteed to. At the very minimum, you're going to be making like $75 million to $100 million.
He didn't even have to read the script anymore.
No.
Did you see the trailer where it's like it's just him jumping off of a building with a peg leg?
Yeah, the one that's it's Die Hard but with The Rock.
It's Die Hard with a messed up leg, which I guess he had messed up legs anyways because he wasn't wearing shoes.
Really?
Yeah, in Die Hard, remember? Like, he takes
his feet are covered in broken glass.
It's the same thing.
You know what? I saw a thing when that trailer played during the Super Bowl where, because he's jumping off of a crane into this building, but somebody did the math of like how far he would have had to actually jump to make it, and they're like, we're going to estimate that at about what was it, like a 50-foot jump that he would have to make?
Sure, yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, we'll see, but The Rock, he can pull it off because he's the goddamn Rock.
Right.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
A movie based on a video game
is somehow more realistic.
You remember Rampage was like a video game.
I played Rampage in the arcade.
It's like, what do you like? people are like, they're out of ideas. So I'm really glad that A Quiet Place is doing well.
Me too.
I'll say that.
I think I hope A Quiet Place sticks around for a good long while. I think it's making waves. It's got a lot of good buzz, great reviews. And you need a good horror movie, especially when you have garbage at the box office like Truth or Dare, which is number 5 at the box office this week.
Who's that one? That's
a Blumhouse movie.
Okay.
So they're, obviously the new hip horror gods studio-wise. But there's no names in it. It's one of those classic like teens, in the sort of mold of like old school slasher movies where it's like, oh, teens are doing bad things. Let's kill them all off one by one.
Sure.
This seems like that kind of movie as well.
And I think that's where A Quiet Place suffered had it not had the buzz, because you're inundated with so many of these types of movies. I thought that's what that was. And I was like, okay, great. It's another like in the woods, slasher film, right? And I didn't know, then I started watching the trailers and reading up on it. But that's the problem with these like Truth or Dare movies and like these movies that they just keep throwing out there, is that it kind of, I wouldn't say like it does a disservice to these other movies, but it does make me go, okay, like I'm going to wait on it and see how it does. And
like, I think every once in a while you can have a movie in that vein these days that sort of elevates the genre a little bit. Do you ever see It Follows?
I love it.
It Follows is great, and it's got that same sort of vibe,
right?
But it subverts it enough that, and obviously the film is made well and doesn't feel hacky,
right?
That it works.
Yeah, you almost have to go backwards now, because remember when like slasher films started, it was like only like 2 or 3 people really got killed, right? And you never really saw it. And then we got just like the torture core and the Saw movies and the Hostel movies, and now it's like nothing's really like shocking anymore. So now you have to kind of go back, I feel, and like less deaths. You don't show the monster. I think that's where the new Alien suffer. I mean, you saw the alien in the preview.
Yeah, you can't have that.
You know what I mean?
You can't show your hand that early,
that quickly,
before anything even happens.
It shows fear. Like, we're afraid that you guys aren't going to see this, so here's everything right now. Go see it. Right. So I think that now, like these, like the It Follows, or like Get Out, or like some of the, these, or this one, A Quiet Place. It's like it's got to be more subtle and more. You've got to kind of go backwards in horror, I think.
Yeah, I think it's got to get more simplified.
Yeah, simplified.
There's probably a reason why the reboots of these old slasher movie genres are not doing well.
They're failing.
I don't know. I mean, I know there's a Halloween remake reboot sort of thing, in the same universe. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, but it's sort of a reboot. She's coming back, but that's coming out later this year, and it's got a good team behind it. Like Danny McBride and David Gordon Green are the writing and directing end of it, but I don't know how it's going to do, because unless it can wash the taste out of the Rob Zombie Halloween movies out of everybody's mouths,
right,
and get everybody back on board with this franchise that already, again, it feels passé now, but maybe they can pull it off. We'll see.
And let's be honest, not even the Rob Zombie ones, like the last couple of actual Halloween movies with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah, like Halloween H2O,
and then the one with Busta Rhymes, Resurrection, or whatever. Like, so this one is the new one is supposed to like rewrite all those didn't exist.
Yeah, it's
and
retconning
it takes place
everything.
After 2, which that's always just a huge red flag to me. They're doing it with Aliens right now. There's another Alien movie that's supposed to like retcon 3, 4, and 5.
That seems like a bad move,
right? Sigourney Weaver's coming back and everything.
When is this coming out? I didn't even hear about it.
It got pushed back because of Prometheus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's like, hey, let's just all those other movies didn't happen. Psych.
Hey, whoops.
Right.
Hey, sorry, we goofed. We
then
fucked
why
up.
did you make them?
Look, we didn't know at the time, and then 20 or 30 years later, we finally came up with an answer to solve those movies.
I know, it drives me insane. I actually liked Alien 3, but
Alien, that's David Fincher directed, right? Yeah. See, I've never. This is one of my unfortunate pop culture blind spots. Never seen Alien. Or Aliens, or Alien 3.
Again, at this point,
Never seen any of them.
you would probably be bored at this point.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's like, because we've seen everything. So to go backwards and focus on mood and tone, and it's like, all right, kill somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Cloverfield Paradox, which is basically just shitty Alien.
It was.
It was so bad, man.
It was really
God,
bad.
that movie was fucking bad.
And the first 2 were great.
I felt that was one of the movies that, like, I wish that if I could have. If it was in theaters, I probably would have walked out.
Really?
We watched it right after the Super Bowl because we were like hyped off the trailer.
The trailer was insane.
And then all of a sudden we were like, oh, this is really fucking boring.
Trailer was insane. I saw the trailer. I was like, oh my God, I have to see this. And immediately everyone was like, it sucks. This is terrible. I was like, I hate, you know what? I don't watch trailers. I don't know if I've told you that. I don't watch trailers.
No, you don't watch trailers?
And
do you find that helps movie going experience?
Yeah. If there's something that I really, really, really want to see, I will not watch a trailer for it.
I stopped reading reviews.
Yeah. That's probably smart.
It's you know what? It's the way to go. Like this week I went and saw You Were Never Really Here.
Mm-hmm.
Familiar with the concept of that one?
God, somebody was just telling me about this like 3 days ago.
It's new. It just came out, but it's in super limited release right now. It's probably not going to hit theaters for another couple of weeks wide. But it's Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes. Yeah.
Playing. That's probably the worst his name has ever been pronounced. Joaquin.
Yeah. That's our text. Is like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes.
And he's a hitman, man, and he does around, and he's a hitman, and he saves, or not a hitman exactly, he's a hired gun, and he goes and saves girls from sex traffickers.
Gotcha.
That's his job. So the whole movie is it follows him on a job.
Gotcha.
Over the course of like 36 hours.
Good.
And it's very good. Extremely, like, Joaquin Phoenix is really great in it. He's got probably added like 20 pounds of muscle.
Nice.
So he's just gigantic, but he plays he plays the character so, like, you feel so bad for the character. He's got a lot of shit going on.
Sure.
And it's not just a movie that's following the action that's going on. It's really, there's a lot of internal shit that's going on too. And that's just as important, if not more so, because that colors the action that happens on screen.
Right.
And really tight movie, 90 minutes, you're in and out.
Nice.
Very well directed, not a lot of dialogue. It's close to a silent movie, but it's very, very well made.
Why?
But I have heard about that movie ever since it came out at the Cannes Festival last year. So I heard great things, won some awards there, won like Best Screenplay, Best Actor. But I knew I wanted to see it because I like the director. But reading reviews of it, it's not going to do anything for me because I don't want to have shit. It's not that I don't want to have things spoiled, but it's that I want to be able to develop my own opinions of movies at this point.
Because there's always that one line and there's that one review that sticks out. So when you're watching the movie, like, oh, that's what that one guy was talking about.
Right.
That happens to me a lot. Like I have not seen any Infinity War trailers except for like the small teaser.
Ooh.
Like the trailer to me should just be the date.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna see it. But because a lot of times I feel like trailers like really ruin the movie, like we were talking about with the Prometheus sequel, the Covenant. It's like they just show you everything.
Right.
And it can't live up to that.
We've gone past the age. This is really unfortunate. We've gone past the age where you can get into a trailer and it doesn't show you at least one major plot point.
Something, right.
I can't think of a movie trailer that has not done that.
Right.
And I don't know, past 5 years, maybe?
Nope. Yeah, that's why I'd like the teasers. I always watch. Fine, no problem. 30-second teasers. Set the tone, okay, and then I'll try to avoid everything else.
Well, I might take you up on this no trailers thing because that's how I get all my info about like what movies to watch. But I have other means of doing that.
Yeah,
and I can read like I'll figure it out.
And people post about stuff on Facebook. Oh my God, I'm watching blah blah blah. It's good. That's how I heard about A Quiet Place, and that's how I heard it was from Facebook. People posting about it and friends talking about it.
Yeah.
So if it's really good, it'll find you.
Closing things down here for the box office, we got number 6, Ready Player One, number 7, Blockers, number 8, Black Panther, staying in the top 10, continuing its drop. I think it's probably going to fall out once Avengers gets in there.
Or rise.
I don't know. Well, Avengers, look, Black Panther's been in the box office now. It's been in release 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And that is a very long time to stay in.
It's a good run. Yeah.
It's a good run. I think it's going to hit maybe in the bottom 3 next week. And then it's going to go out.
You think?
I think so.
I think it may rise because they're going back to Wakanda in Infinity Wars. So you could grab onto those people that missed, those stragglers that actually missed Black Panther, could go back and bump it.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think so, but it's a possibility. I think that the next one is going to be Avengers. It's going to be Deadpool 2. It's going to be Solo. Like Disney's just going to dominate. Disney and Marvel's just going to dominate for the next like 2 months.
We're about to be. I mean, we already kind of are starting now a little early thanks to A Quiet Place and Rampage, but we're getting into the thick of summer movie season.
Mm-hmm.
Blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster is going to start coming out, and Black Panther had a historic run.
Yeah,
and I think it's about to come to tie a bow on that thing.
Did you see Ready Player One?
Not yet. It's on my list. I got to go see it. I hear mixed reviews.
Yeah. Did you read the book?
Nope.
Okay.
Did you read the book?
I did.
Yeah?
It's fantastic. That's why I'm really worried about the movie.
And you haven't seen it yet?
Nah. No. Everyone who hasn't read the book says great. Everyone who has read the book is just like, it's good, but it's
I want to see it.
Yeah.
All I've heard, it's very Spielbergy.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably, that makes a lot of sense.
And he's the perfect director for that too, because in the book there's so many references and so many. It's just inundated with pop culture stuff. So to have somebody with Spielberg that has he can bring a lot of his
Right. He can bring his own properties. He's got obviously
Right.
a lot of a giant. Not just he's his own. He's created so much pop culture over the
Right.
course of the past his whole career. 40 years or so. So,
but also friends of his that'll be like, yeah, you can borrow that. You know what I mean? Like he.
That's why you can throw the Iron Giant in there.
Exactly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We got, let's see, Traffic, new release, number 9. Apparently not good, but it'll stay in there. It made $3 million. Good job. And then Isle of Dogs at number 10. Wes Anderson being animated and fun again.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see it?
No.
Do you like Wes Anderson?
I don't. I don't. I enjoy the Royal Tenenbaums, but that's about where it ends for me.
What does he do wrong for you?
It's just
what don't you jive?
It's just too. I don't know, man. It's just too I can't really describe why it just irks me, but it's just too. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like one of those things where I feel like I'm like it's like, remember in school with the cool kids table?
Yeah.
Right? And they're always having a good time, but you want to be over there, and then you get over there and you're like, I don't want to be here. I always feel like I'm on the outside of a Wes Anderson movie of I'm always like the uncool kid that's trying to and they're like, yeah, this sucks.
Everybody, and you just you can't get in.
Right.
It's too
exclusive, and everyone loves it, and you're like, I don't know why you love it.
It kind of, it does kind of feel that way. Like it feels, as a Wes Anderson fan,
Sure.
The fact that they're all made in a very certain way, and they all have the same kind of people and the same cast members.
Yeah.
And it's all sort of the same. Writing wise, the same sort of variations on a story and same, twee hipster quote unquote shit that's going on.
Very quirky.
It's very quirky. It's super fucking quirky. I can see why that might be hard to penetrate, and if that's all that the movies are, right? Then why continue to try and bust your way through?
And I think I might be kind of. I don't consider myself a dumb person, but maybe it's because I'm people around me talk about how great it is, and then I don't, and I watch it, and I'm like, I don't get it. So maybe it irritates me a little bit to be like, am I missing? Am I just stupid?
Dude, but I'm getting to the point, okay, there's movies that I feel that way about now that get great. I'll look them up after I see them, and they'll get great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, what did you guys see in this fucking movie?
Okay, give me an example.
I saw this movie called A Ghost Story last year.
Yes, dude. Okay, I saw the trailer for that, and it looked fantastic.
It's garbage.
But it got all the awards.
People loved it. People loved it. It got great reviews. It got all kinds of nominations for Indie Spirit Awards and all this shit.
Yeah.
But the whole point of the movie is summed up. It's like a guy dies, and then he haunts his house literally wearing
With
a sheet.
Yeah.
And there's a part in the middle of the movie where time has jumped past his wife's death, and there's a party going on in this house that used to be his. And there's a guy who's basically just super fucked up. He's like, I don't even know why we make anything, man. Art's bullshit. We shouldn't do anything. It's all gonna die eventually. I'm like, why did you make this movie then?
Yeah, right.
Are you that far critically up your own ass that you're going to be like, yeah, no, I didn't have to make this movie, but that's what the movie's all about.
And you guys are watching it.
Yay.
Yeah. It's one of those things when you go out with a group of people and you go to the lobby to talk about the movie, and your first reaction, that's happened to me before. I'm like, well, that sucked, right? And then everyone's like, oh my God, it's so good. And you get just like, oh, never mind. That's how I feel about Wes Anderson movies. And there was another one, we watched Witch. Have you seen that one yet?
The Witch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you like it?
I did like it.
Okay, that was another one. Critically acclaimed. Everyone loved it. And it's me and my girlfriend were like, this kind of sucks, doesn't it? She's like, yeah, I hate this movie.
It's very slow. It's not, I don't know. I think there's a point where a movie that is slow, that can feel fine, and you're cool with it being slow, and then there's a point where it's just like, come, get the fucking,
let's go.
Get on with it.
Wrap it up.
I don't want to be checking my watch during a movie trying to be like, yo, what's the deal with this thing? Where is it going?
It's we get it. You can make a movie, you can draw it out. Let's go. We got stuff to do.
If there's the biggest problem with movies these days, they're too fucking long.
Way too long.
Every movie needs to be shot down for the most part, by 20 to 30 minutes.
And you would think they would do that with how much social media has impacted us and our attention spans. You would think that they would start shortening movies.
Nah.
They think,
but they won't. I just don't get it, man. Here's let's talk about something else I don't get.
Okay.
The movie that you've come to hate today.
Yeah.
Which is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. This is the movie number 8 in the Star Wars and then in the total Star Wars canon.
Right.
New Star Wars trilogy just came out last year. Rian Johnson directed it. If you somehow missed it, it is let's see. The plot follows Rey as she receives Jedi training from Luke Skywalker in hopes of turning the tide for the Resistance in the fight against Kylo Ren and the First Order. This movie did well critically. It made $1.33 billion at the box office, and yet I remember seeing this movie a few weeks after it had come out and being sort of mired in the midst of a division amongst friends of mine.
Sure.
Who liked it and who hated it.
Right.
I came out on the side of liking it, but you, my friend, hate this
I
movie.
hated it.
Why do you hate it?
I just feel the last two I really disliked. I feel I think it's in coming from someone who like doesn't like Wes Anderson movies, like I should have loved this movie. Like I left this movie. I texted my friend. I go, he's a huge Star Wars fan, like diehard, and I go, I just saw Last Jedi, and he's like, okay, what'd you think? And I was like, I didn't like it, but I don't know why, because everything was there. Yoda was there. There was lightsabers. There was and it just felt so hollow, like a shell of a movie. And he was like, yeah. And he like sent me a list of why like he didn't like it. And I started putting it together where it's just like, no one, in my opinion, no one had any clear direction in that movie why anybody was doing anything.
Interesting.
To me.
Okay.
So you take The Force Awakens, right? So you're a big Star Wars guy, right?
I am a big Star Wars guy. I've seen every Star Wars movie in theaters.
Great.
I liked the direction of the new trilogy so far.
Okay.
I actually have not run into anybody who doesn't like the first movie, this new trilogy yet.
I liked it less.
Okay.
The Force Awakens I liked less.
Gotcha.
Rey, why is she trying to get off the planet?
In Force Awakens?
Right. Her whole
I don't know.
Exactly. That's my point. Why? What's like? I'm sure there is. I'm sure people listen to this episode and be like, "Oh, it was this." But to you and I to be like, I have what motivate? Why is she?
I shouldn't have to think about.
Why
that.
are people doing things in this movie?
Because we know why Luke wants to get off the planet.
Sure.
Because he has no family there anymore.
Right.
Because they were murdered.
Right. It's a hero's journey.
It's a hero's journey.
Yes, classic hero's journey.
You get, I guess, you get sort of thrown in to Rey's story right in the middle of it, but all the parent stuff, it all comes out in exposition later on as the story goes along.
And I have no idea why anybody like the whole like is Poe and Finn, do they like each other? Is that a thing that they're leading to? Because the love interest they like shoehorned in doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Here, let's get into Last Jedi. Specifically, there are things I didn't like about this movie.
Okay.
The love interest, I hated that.
It makes no sense.
There's no reason for that character to be a love interest.
Right.
I get throwing the character in to have somebody to go out and be with Finn as a character, so it's not just him solo by himself.
Great.
Throw him in that casino scene. Throw them running around and trying to escape.
Scene.
Everybody hates the casino scene.
Made no sense.
I think it's fun.
It makes no sense.
Who cares? It's so much fun. I liked it. Anyway, but the part. Well, as soon as they're getting to the very end, and she saves. I don't remember saves him, but like is holding his body
Right
in his destroyed speeder. And
I like you talking this out. You're like, yeah, this movie does kind of suck.
But it's just, it's really this. This is the one part that I was like, what the fuck? Why did this part happen in this movie? As soon as I saw her like cradle Finn in her arms, I was like, oh god, they're gonna kiss, aren't they? And then they do, and I was like, I liked you.
Right.
I liked you as a character before this point.
Right.
You actually gave the movie some levity and some stakes, and you helped sort of the scene at the very end with the kids that's set up by Kelly Marie Tran's character in the first place. That's a really, I think, important plot point, and we'll probably see more of that, the result of that in the third movie of this trilogy. But do they have to fucking kiss?
Right. And it was almost like he did not want that kiss.
No, I don't think he
at
did
all.
either.
Not from her.
I think he probably,
Not from her.
yeah, he definitely, as soon as he probably saw that part in the script, he tried to get that changed.
Yeah. It was almost like a brother kissing a sister before, it just felt weird. that really bothered me. The whole it felt like the whole movie was comically undoing everything that they had set up in The Force Awakens. So almost like I started laughing when he throws the lightsaber. And then they like everything that they had set up. This almost like this guy's like a big just fuck you to everything. Oh, you thought that there was going to be this big thing with Luke? Fuck you. Oh, you thought her parents were somebody? Nothing. Oh, you thought Snoke was not like everything that we had built up in our heads. Like he just comically, purposely would just shit all over it.
See, I agree with you, but I didn't mind that.
My problem with it was I have no desire to see a third film.
Okay.
What are you excited about to get wrapped up in the third one?
What I'm excited about is to see how things go down with Rey and Kylo Ren.
Right, yes.
I really want to see that.
Kylo Ren's the best part of the movie.
Kylo Ren and their whole relationship is fantastic in the whole movie. The fact that they get this link.
Love it.
And they're connecting with each other and
he's shirtless.
Yeah. Dude, shirtless Adam Driver.
Right.
The meme that launched 1,000 space boners.
That should have been the movie. To me, that should have been the movie. The brother and the sister thing, that to me, that should have been the whole like Poe like going rogue and learning his lesson like an after school special sort of way. Like that really irritated me. The way they handled Luke, oh my God, really bothered me.
Okay, this is something that I have not been able to have. Nobody has articulated this to me that well about why they didn't like the Luke plot line, because again I don't see the big problem with it. I think that it does a nice it really mirrors what happens in the original Star Wars, where at the very end Luke comes in at the very beginning. Luke is met with a projection of Leia, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the very end, the story it's a nice bookend where the projection of Luke is going to talk to Leia. I think that it makes sense Force-wise,
sure,
because we already know that that's canon, because we had Ryan Johnson clap back at somebody on Twitter and be like, oh, let me look at this book in my house where I did all my research and made sure that he could do this,
right,
and send this projection of himself.
I was okay with that. It bothered me because I didn't know that he died.
Oh yeah,
I was like, he like disappears and his robe flies away, and I was just kind of like,
you wanted to see more Luke in that third in episode 9,
but also I was like, I didn't feel anything because I didn't know. I was just like, oh, I guess that if you project yourself too long, you die.
I guess probably, but that's the thing. Like I saw that. This brings me back to the plot holes argument from comic book movies.
Okay,
it's one of those things that like, okay, yeah. It's a plot hole. It's unexplained, but I'm okay with it because it's a goddamn space fantasy world.
Did you get choked up when Luke died?
When Luke died? No,
right.
I didn't.
That's my problem.
I was taken aback.
I want to feel shit. I really like Luke Skywalker, the guy we grew up with that was in movies like when I was a babe, like Star Wars. Like when he dies, I was just like, oh, I guess he's gone now. You know what I mean?
I was like,
missed
oh,
opportunity.
He's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I wasn't choked up.
Dude, that scene in The Force Awakens when Han dies and Chewie walks in and walks right past Leia. Like that is, to me, that was such a missed opportunity for like an emotional, like the two tentpole characters lost the person they care about the most, and he walks right past her and she hugs Rey for I have no idea why.
Right. See, the thing, I think it's hard to talk about Star Wars and talk about emotions in context of how Star Wars movies make you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never thought that the Star Wars movies did a great job of making me feel any certain way other than like just awe at what was going on.
Okay.
I think there are obviously some very dramatic moments over the course of the whole series.
Right.
You know, in my favorite movie of the whole sequence is Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
And that obviously very crazy movie, very dark.
Yeah.
Lots of cliffhanger stuff going on there. You find, obviously you've got big sequences with Luke and Vader, and you have Han Solo going in carbonite, and all the shit's going on. Everybody's getting betrayed.
The heroes don't win.
The heroes don't win.
Yeah.
And that is the closest I think Star Wars gets to evoking emotions in me. But even then, I'm still just like, whoa, this is crazy,
right,
man. I'm never sitting there like feeling for Luke.
Okay,
really.
Okay,
and then
I think I wanted to.
I kind of want that too.
I feel there's a lot of missed opportunity. If you're going to bring back the characters and then kill them off, like it should be meaningful, not just him disappearing with a robe, not just Leia flying off into space. Like she's dead in real life. You know what I mean? That's enough, and they knew that going into it.
I did think that when she was in that explosion and
Right.
she was floating off in space, I was like, oh my God, they're going to kill Leia right from the jump.
What a great, like, first end of the first act or whatever it was?
Yeah.
How great would that have been?
That would have been fantastic.
Zero chances, zero risks. Yoda coming back to me was like, to me, it felt very forced. No pun intended.
See, I can't abide by you saying that there's no risks taken in this movie because the whole movie is about destroying every last vestige of the original trilogy, and that's a gigantic risk.
You are right about that. He undid everything. He did everything. JJ. He undid the mythos and everything that JJ did. You're right. He did do that for sure.
Yeah.
But to me, like the only thing I'm excited about, like this one, and I understand, like you don't want to, like maybe what we built up in our minds isn't going to be that cool, right? Whatever the answer is not going to be that cool, right? With the parents, with the Snoke, with her meeting Luke. But I wanted something a little bit more as far as just like a no. And then to me, like the Luke thing, like where he's like, I'm not going to train you. And then like, okay, I'll train you, but for like a 30-second montage. I feel like that movie and what we were talking about earlier, they're too long. There's too much stuff stuffed into it.
Right.
If you would have isolated Luke and Leia, or I'm sorry, Rey.
Luke and Rey, yeah.
Yeah, and then Rey and her brother. Dude, I would have loved that movie.
That would have been great. It would have been great. Let me ask you this. So there are a lot of the complaints that I have seen about this movie are the fact that there is a lot of very strange sequences and weird comical stuff, not just the comic dismantling like you've brought up,
right?
But the like overtly weird like Luke milking a space and alien tit,
insane, so bizarre.
And the sequence where Rey is in that like the mirror dimension where she like and time is dilated and she goes into the heart of the island and all this crazy stuff,
right?
Like an episode of Lost.
The opening scene with Poe is just a your mama joke.
Yeah.
Where he's just trolling the it's just very
and Finn trying to escape in the escape pod and getting caught, and it's just like there's a lot of actual overt comedy that happens in this movie.
Yeah,
but it's so weird.
Yeah.
Now some of it I didn't mind so much. I think I actually got into an argument with Parker this weekend about the space alien milking thing.
Okay,
and he was like, I didn't like it. It felt like Jar Jar to me, and I was like, well, it's not like the space tit was a whole character,
right? And you know what that's from, right? Star Wars, where he walks in the very first one, they're all drinking the green shit.
Oh, that's that milk.
So it's like a kind of a nod to that, which okay, fine, I guess. It's just bizarre, and it's that like Disney's. To me, it felt like Disney has this formula with Marvel, and the Marvel movies are very funny, and they fit in this formula. And I felt that they were trying to put in humor into a Star Wars movie, but very forcefully, like really like on the nose.
Yeah.
That whole scene with Poe in the beginning where he's like just killing time, and it's just like,
yeah,
it just felt weird to me.
It's one of those you could have done without it in the movie.
Right. Yeah, I understand it's Disney and it's for kids and stuff, but like, I don't know. There are some scenes that I did like. I did love the battle in the Red Room. Like that was awesome.
Red Room battle's great.
Right.
I think that the Millennium Falcon escape flight is great.
Sure, that was fun. But there was, him literally like burning the books of the Jedi. Like I get that. But like to me, like his motivation is that he doesn't like Jedi or Sith. He just wants it all gone.
Right.
But he wants to be
right. He still wants to be in power.
Okay.
Because he has this he has a connection to the Force.
Okay.
Whatever side you want to say he's a part of.
Okay.
He doesn't give a shit about sides. He just wants to be in charge.
Okay.
That's why he kills Snoke.
Right, which I loved.
But Snoke represents something to him.
Right.
And that's the thing. What are you? Because you mentioned Snoke a couple times. But if you like the fact that he kills him right off the bat,
right.
Basically, how do you feel about people who say that having him in the movie at all seems like a throwaway?
Sure, it sounds like a contradiction to what I'm saying earlier, but it's not because. So you set up Snoke as like the next like badass, right? Like
right.
We're all supposed to think that he is, right? And there's some really like cool, like almost like torture-esque scenes with him when he's got her like lifted up. Like I loved all that. Almost like he's like the Emperor 2.0 or whatever, right? And then you have him killed just so ridiculously. It's just like this guy means nothing. He's just a henchman almost. which I thought was really like cheap to that character. And like, yeah, you're right. Why even have him? I did like that it did elevate him, Adam Driver. It did elevate him to the next level.
Right.
But it would have meant something if he would have killed someone who was almost like a father figure to him, or like was like awesome, badass guy. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, he just killed an old guy in a chair that I know nothing about. I think that was also another missed opportunity to really elevate his character and his motivation.
Gotcha.
I don't know what Snoke stood for. We know that he killed him because he didn't like what he's, I guess, the Sith, the dark side.
He's a weird dude with a big head. He looks evil.
Yeah, so I guess he's the bad guy. You know what I mean? It was just like those little, like, not little things, big things to me that I just needed.
Are there any other big things that you think were missed opportunities by Rian Johnson and the Star Wars Disney team?
The Luke death for sure. The Luke and her training, absolutely for sure. I mean, you've got this opportunity. Like, he's in a cave, hidden, isolated, just like Obi-Wan was. Right? She comes to him looking for help.
Obvious parallels.
Obvious. Like, you could have milked that, no pun intended, a little bit longer than the weird, grumpy old man. Like, no, get out of here. Like, and then like, it's just irritating.
What'd you think of of discovering that Luke may have had some malevolence to him, like seeing the sequences where it cuts back and forth between one side of what happened with young Ben Solo and another side of what happens.
I think it was a letdown. I think that both. So you're coming to like this big reveal, right? To me, I was like, okay, oh shit, was he the bad guy? Was he the good? And then he's like, oh yeah, I guess kind of both. You like pick one. Pick it, like maybe I don't know. I didn't like that either. I didn't like the way they handled that.
That's fair.
Do you honestly think Luke, in a moment of weakness, would go and try to kill Han
Maybe.
Solo's kid?
Maybe. I think if he felt like that was going to be the next great evil, he wouldn't want to have to go through what he was doing again, what he'd already had to stop to begin with. I mean, he killed his fucking dad, sort of, basically.
He did. Yeah, I don't know. The idea of, I know, like in the fan fiction stuff, and in some of Lucas's like stuff, that he did start a Jedi school. I did like that they incorporated the Jedi school in there. I think that Luke's character would be like, all right, shut it down. You know what I mean? Like this kid, like, and maybe kept an eye on him.
Right.
That scene of him like going to kill him in the middle of the night and then kind of chickening out and then kind of not, like, there was just no commitment in the movie. I think that was one of my biggest issues.
That's fair.
There was zero commitment to either side. Like, do that. Make him like like he like tried to kill him, and then that's why I would have loved that. That's why I keep forgetting his name, Adam Driver's character,
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. That's his main motivation, is because he tried to kill him and failed, or whatever. Like that, then it would make a little bit more sense to me. Other than, I don't like Jedi or Sith, and I just want to be in charge. Like.
But that sets up nicely for the very end fight, the climactic battle when he is trying to take it, literally all of his entire army's force out on Luke.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Hey, he's still standing. Oh, that's why he's still standing, because he's not even really there.
He's not even there. Yeah. I don't know. It just felt like a Disney movie instead of a Star Wars movie.
That, you know what? I can't disagree with you on that.
Right.
I think that's a very valid response. And I can see, I'm glad you've been able to articulate your viewpoint so well.
Right.
Because I think that is the reason that it makes sense to me now why people don't like it.
Right.
I can understand, because it is very Disneyfied. I'm seeing Instagram ads now for Star Wars Land and for Black Panther Land at Disney California Adventure.
Yeah.
Like, that something about that feels wrong.
Right. And then, like, to circle back to what I was talking about when I texted my buddy who's a huge Star Wars fan, and he was disappointed just from a writing standpoint, because he was like, they take the director on the writing takes a standpoint of, like, in most like movies, like, this happens, so this happens, right? This movie was like, this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. So there was no like over, I don't know. Everyone's motivation was a little convoluted for me as well.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You've already sort of touched on one of the questions I usually ask, which is what you do to fix the movie. Is there anything sort of on the flip side that you think that the movie did do very well? Is there anything that you did think it pull off, or is it irredeemable for you?
I mean, it was fun. It was pretty. It looked cool. But again, is it a comedy? Is it dark? Is it like, I would have cut the humor. I would have really delved into Ray, because Ray and Kylo are the most interesting part of the movie to me.
Yeah.
Like the older characters are back for a paycheck, cool, whatever. To that nostalgia. My problem here's another problem with this is that the Force Awakens was like it was a reboot of the first one, right? Would you agree?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a scene by scene. If there's any franchise that's ever been made or will ever be made in the history of movies, this is something that your fans are going to go with you on. You can pick up literally in the middle of episode 7 and we'll go with you.
Yeah.
There does not need to be a hard reboot for the Star Wars franchise on this one. And I think that this one did a good job of kind of being its own movie. It didn't have to live in the past of the other one. I feel that the Force Awakens suffered because it was like, well, like we've seen all this before. Like you don't have to do this. So I think that if you would have scaled back on the missions, that I didn't understand. If you would have scaled back on a lot of the humor and made it a little bit darker, made Luke go all in on Luke, make him have a moment of weakness where he literally. Is because doesn't he turn to the dark side at some point in Lucas's like
I would imagine he probably does. I never got that deep into the alternate
dialed
side.
into that, right? You the more scenes of like in the Red Room, more scenes of that.
I would have loved to see more Red Room type scenes. I would have loved to see more scenes like when Laura Dern launches the ship through the rest of the blockade.
Yeah.
God, that was such a beautiful shot.
Yeah, and she was great in it.
Mm-hmm.
Poe being like, okay, now you learned your lesson, right? Now you know why you shouldn't have done that. He's like, okay, that's silly shit to me. That doesn't need to be in it. And
no love interests.
No love it's just cut that weird love interest thing out. There's a lot. It was kind of a mess to me.
But a fun mess.
Yeah, it was fun. It was pretty.
Like cleaning up after a birthday party.
But like the Benicio del Toro thing, like they go on the mission to find the guy, some keymaster, right? They can't find him, but they find Benicio in jail. Was Benicio, was he the keymaster? Was he playing a trick on them? Or was he just, but he had the key the whole time. He could get out of the jail the whole time, but he waited to break out till they got there.
I liked Benicio del Toro in
and
this
then
one.
It
was weird, but it was fun.
But then the big twist that he betrays them at the end and gives them up to the like, yeah, of course he does.
Of course.
We met him, he was in prison.
Right, yeah. It's not like it's the most smart, really.
When Lando sold at Han, you were like, oh
God,
dude,
Lando.
That hurt.
But of course, it's just like, okay, yeah, we see it coming.
Of course, Benicio sold him. He was in prison.
And that's why there's nothing that's ever going to be better than Empire Strikes Back.
I know. I think they could have been, though. There were some scenes in it. There were some really nice scenes in it that could have gone. Scenes. If you would have gone super dark like Empire was and ended it, it's like...
this still ends on a hopeful note.
It's a great hopeful note.
Very hopeful.
Yeah. And it starts on a bad note too. It's like I thought the Resistance was back after the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't make, you know what I mean? Like in the beginning of this one, the Resistance is like down and they're like struggling. It's like, but I thought everything was cool at the end of Force Awakens.
So did I.
Like, what's going on?
Guys, what happened?
That's my issue.
It's too, maybe if it wasn't so Disney-fied, they wouldn't have to start from a bad spot and build themselves back up to greatness.
Exactly.
They could have just been mired in, oh, God. And the movie could have become sort of this hall of horrors, but, still light enough and Star Wars-y.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like Rogue One. God, it was fantastic. Rogue One was so good.
Because everybody died.
Everyone dies, and it's dark.
It's impressive.
Yeah. It's Disney, too.
Yeah.
I don't know why this one they thought. Somebody was telling, I forgot who it was. They said that they saw Rogue One in the theater and someone, God, I wish I could quote them because I don't remember who it was, but they were saying that someone in front of him there was like a kid, like looked at his parents and goes, Mom, is everyone going to die? Yes, they do.
Yes.
All of them.
Yeah.
So,
just look, kid. We got some lessons we got to teach you.
So if they would have made that one just like a little half as dark as Rogue One is, like, dude, that scene in Rogue One with Darth Vader is like straight up horror movie.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
It's great. I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah. Terrifying.
Man, I am intrigued to see what happens with Episode 9.
Yeah.
I know I honestly, I don't have the most faith in them bringing JJ back.
Right.
I think he's a better choice than Colin Trevorrow, but I
Do you
don't
think
know.
he'll try to redo everything that they undid in the Force?
God, I hope not.
Do you think he'll try to bring the Force Awakens story back instead of the Last Jedi's
I
continuation?
really hope not. I hope he continues the Last Jedi because I think that at least if you don't like what happened in the Last Jedi for motivational and on a deeper writing level kinds
Right.
of reasons, I still think it's a more interesting narrative choice than to try and I guess to retcon the whole movie back to where it was.
Could you imagine? The first act is him going, okay, what Rey's parents are actually
quickest retcon in franchise history for any movie.
Well, Disney has a really hard Star Wars in general has a really hard time giving their directors full reign.
Yeah.
And we've seen that with the Solo thing.
Yeah,
you know,
but
which
they
probably
ditched
for the best on that one.
Lord Miller.
Yeah, but even so much as Rogue One, where they hired the guy who did Godzilla to make a dark war movie, and then they saw it and they go, "Whoa, this is a too dark of a war movie."
Right.
And they had to do rewrites and bring somebody else in to make it funnier, lighten it up. Star Wars has that issue of really hiring the director for the movies and then getting mad when they do what they're hired to do.
I remember when the whole Disney buying Lucasfilm deal went down. I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, if there's ever a company that could stand to make Star Wars and continue the legacy, it's Disney,
Right.
probably. And now we're 3 movies in, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm not so sure.
Right. I'm really nervous about Solo.
I am, too.
I mean, the guy that they brought in to save the day, what was the last, dope movie that he put out?
I mean, Seabiscuit's pretty fucking dope.
Right. Right. It was great. But what year was that?
2003. I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, we might be fucked.
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out in a little bit. Justin, dude, thanks so much for coming.
Dude, thanks
in
for
today,
having
man.
me.
I'm sorry that you didn't like Last Jedi, but I'm glad that you could articulate your viewpoint.
Absolutely, dude. Thanks for having me on.
Where can my listeners find your work? I know you just had an album come out not too long ago.
Yeah, it's on iTunes. It's on Spotify. Just search Justin Foster. It's called Dangerless. It's on justincomic.com. It's out there. Please
Wonderful.
give it a listen.
Awesome. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for my most up-to-date show dates. And I can talk about this a little bit now. I was a writer on the new season of BattleBots, which is airing May 11th on Discovery Channel for a whopping 20 episodes. Ooh. So start giving that a watch, you silly nerds. This has been an episode of Blockbusting. Guys, go see something good for a change.